And so Lobos will get a chance to try it one more time. That pass for Hummel, by the way, was incomplete, of course, out of the end zone. And so Ross will have one more chance. And they will line it up and go for two. Straight T formation in the backfield. Larry Hill bows under the T. Handoff to Maurice Stevens. If at the end of the fourth quarter the teams have identical scores, the tie will be resolved in the following manner, and each team shall put the ball in play from its opponent's 20-yard line, first down and 10 yards to go. Teams shall alternate possessions until the tie is broken following an equal number of possessions. So this game will not go down as a tie. There will be a winner. And whoever wins this football game, that will go down as a win with that score in their record book. And that team will also be in the playoffs in 2 weeks, whoever wins this thing.
And again, because I don't remember ever discussing what happens if it ended in a tie. We certainly didn't practice it. I don't remember coaches talking about it. So when they end in a tie, they say, well, we're going to play some more. And it ends up, what we know as overtime today, is how we played it in 1982.
You know, I guess I didn't pay enough attention to the rules, and I knew that I wasn't probably going to be on the field no matter what happened, but I thought, you know, obviously these guys know what they're doing. I just hope we can pull it off.
You know, I didn't know what the format was overall or anything like that, but I think about it, man, even still, and I smile because, again, it was just, it was one of those games where if you're a football fan, I don't care what level, if you're a football fan, this is one of those games that you wish you could have actually seen.
I remember Coach, before he sent us out there, I mean, I had no background in this. And since I had blown the coin toss before the game, I wanted to be sure. I remember going back to him twice. We want to be on defense first, yes? Yeah, and I go about to the hash and then I run back. Defense first. And yes, defense first. So we do. We win the toss, and we go on defense first. And they put a drive together, and they go down and score, and they kick, and we're down 7. And you know, again, we're in uncharted waters here, but we get the ball offensively, and we go down and score. And there was brief talk about, do we kick or go for 2? Well, we kicked, and there was a lot of pressure on the kick. Charles Muller was our kicker, and I remember on the sideline, it suddenly hit me, if he doesn't make this, we're done.
A mighty big extra point, the biggest extra point of his career. Snap is down, the kick is up, and it is good. And we will have another overtime period.
So now we kind of regroup, and okay, what happens now? Okay, well, now we get the ball first. We alternate possessions, and we get a great drive together. In 2 plays, we're down on the 4-yard line. And a kind of somewhat lost in history play comes up. We throw a short flat pass to Maurice Stevens in the flat, a play that we'd run 1,000 times. And the ball is slightly off target. He's covered pretty well. It's incomplete. Not a problem. Going to be second and goal from the 4. But they called offensive pass interference on one of our receivers in the end zone. They said that he was blocking a defensive back. And you look at it on the film years later, he's not. Not at least when the ball's in the air. But they penalize us 15 yards. So now it's second and goal from the 19 instead of the 4. On the next play, we drop back and I get sacked. And there's a personal foul on the play, and they move us back 15 more. We hit a pass. Anyway, the long of it is we end up trying a 52-yard field goal that we miss. And now William Jewell, all they have to do is score in any fashion and win. They run the ball off tackle 2 times, and on 3rd down, send their field goal kicker out. Turns out he was 15 for 16 on the year on field goals, perfect on extra points. So, you know, there's a little bit of a gloom and doom in the stadium.
We'll let the crowd tell you what happened. Scott Hudson to attempt, 33 yards out.
Well, what happens is S.B. Howard, our senior defensive tackle, he breaks through the line, somehow gets just enough of the ball with his hand and deflects it off course, and the kick's no good. We're going to third overtime. And to this day, and I've been in a lot of arenas with my career, coaching career, I've never heard an explosion in the crowd like that.
That moment, that was extremely tense. To get to that ball, the urgency.
Just waiting for that opportunity to get myself back in there now, say, now let's go ahead and finish this and get it over with.
I'm on the sideline and coach, right by coach, and it's their ball now. We're going back to third overtime. They'll get the ball first, and he looks at me and he says, if they score and we score, we're going for two, and here's what we're going to run. Already had the play. We had rehearsed it on Friday afternoon. And I remember thinking very confidently, if it comes to that, we got them.
Kelly Groom's 20-yard touchdown pass to tight end Scott Martin, Steve Hudson's conversion pushed Jewell ahead 44-37 in the third overtime.
And as their extra point team runs on the field, he looks at me and he just nods. You know, what we just said, we're doing that. So we take the field, put together a little drive. I don't know how many plays, but we scored.
Running play up the middle, Andrew Hill, he gets in for a touchdown.
I remember about the playoff game was how tired we were getting. And it wasn't that Jewell wasn't getting tired as well, but I think at the end of the day, we made the right decision. Coach Jordan did go for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, and he said it because he felt like he couldn't go all that many times against William and Jewell, you know.
Coach Joe George said he had 3 good reasons for going for the 2-point conversion instead of taking the kick and forcing another overtime. George said he figured momentum was on the Lobos' side and that Jewell's offense was beginning to take its toll on his defense, and that he had a gut feeling it was time to go for 2.
I agree that it was the right call. I mean, we've been playing a long time, and I felt like I had a gut feeling it was time to go for it.
And I remember being confident when we leave the huddle because we'd rehearsed it. We were in a straight T formation, 2 tight ends, kind of a run set, and it was a check with me at the line of scrimmage. We had a flood pass to the right or a flood pass to the left. We could run either one. If they put more guys to the right, we run it, you audible, we run to the left. If they're top heavy to the left, we go to the right. And I remember coming to the line and they were balanced to the right, and I'm about to call it to the left, and I looked and they're balanced to the left. So there's no real clear-cut advantage. And the rule was, in our audible system, if there's no advantage, then run it to the right. So we run it to the right. Everybody's covered, getting a little pressure. I'm about to go down. Well, you can't take a sack. So I remember forcing the ball in the end zone into a crowded coverage, and the ball's knocked down, and the game's over. And they're celebrating, and we're somber. And I remember looking up, and there's a flag on the play.
Nope, it's against William Jewell. Illegal participation. They had too many men on the field, apparently. And so Lobos will get a chance to try it one more time.
They've got 12 men on the field. That's why the coverage was balanced to the right and balanced to the left. They had 6 and 6. So they moved the ball 1.5 yards closer. I mean, this wild swing of emotions, you can just feel it in the stadium.
Straight T formation in the backfield. Larry Hill bows under the tee. Handoff to Maurice Stevens. He did not get in. William Jewell has won the football game. Stop just short of the goal line.
We call a little hand sweep play that we've been pretty good at all year, and we cut up in there, and there's a lot of technical things that went on, but there's a collision about 1/2 yard from the goal line, and we're short. And It's close, but we're short. And there just suddenly became an eerie silence because 98% of the crowd was ours. I mean, they're a long way from Liberty, Missouri. They didn't bring many people. And it's just an eerie silence. And I just remember thinking, it's over and my career's over.
We'd been out there a long time, and I think it was time to get it over with. And I think the play that we called 9 times out of 10 would have been successful. Just a couple of things probably happened on that play that, you look back and wish didn't happen. But, I think it was time to get her done and go on. And of course, we look back 40 years later and wish, had we been successful on that play, possibility of winning a national championship was really good from what I remember of the other teams and what people had said afterwards. But no, I think we could have punched it in there. We'd have been all right. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Be honest with you, because that little piece, for some reason, was spliced onto the tape. I've never seen that last play.
Whatever Coach George wanted to do, I was happy with it. If we got it, would have been heroes. If we didn't, somebody had to make a choice. And that was a gutsy call on his part. And 40 years later, I still defend him on making that call.
Thought we had it. In fact, from the angle that I was looking at, it was double. We had the down blocks and everything. We had the kick out, and there was a gap. And I thought, I already had my hands up, thinking scoring. I don't know where a linebacker just comes out of there and just hits Maurice, and I just couldn't believe we didn't get in.
Yeah, certainly a lost feeling when we lost, and a devastating feeling knowing that it was the final time you would do it.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. It was really disappointing. It was heartbreaking because you saw, like I said, a huge investment for several years, and it was disappointing.
And it was one of those evenly matched contests that could have just gone either way. And we just came out on the short end of it. But you look at it, anything could have happened. You get in the playoffs, anything can happen. And it was just one of those games that we came up short in.
I kept thinking about it when I was driving a tractor on the farm. I kept thinking about that play for about 4 or 5 months. I never forgot it. And to this day, I never forgot it.
As an athlete, and I don't care what level, when you lose and when you've given everything that you can and you've left it on the field, man, it hurts, and that was one of those days that hurt, more and longer than anything. But even thinking about that to this day, Larry, all these years later, that still hurts. That loss hurts, man, now even.
Didn't turn out like we had hoped. I felt like if we could have gotten past William Jewell, we would have had an opportunity to go on and win the national championship like Austin College had out of our conference the year before. But 2 great teams going at it, slugfest game, electric atmosphere, beautiful fall afternoon in Alpine, and that's a day I'll never forget.
We played our hearts out. It was a great game, but I have regrets about that game too. And that we went into a triple overtime, and I wish I'd have had that last play of that ball game. I wish I'd have had it over again, because I think I got a better play in the ball game than what we did.
So, which experience brings men closer together? Is it the shared victory or destroying defeat? Could one argue that this haunting memory of what-ifs and so close actually keeps these men's thoughts on each other? Had the Lobos gone on to win the game and then brought home a national championship, would these forever teammates hold each other in the same regard? And would they think of each other as often as they do today? They all would joke that we'd still think of each other but have a ring too. But deep down, after hearing them all talk, I'm not so sure that any of them would change a thing about the way the last 40 years have been since that triple overtime game in a small Texas town in 1982.
I was just so, so glad to be a part of that team in those years and those eras. And that was the thing for me, man. I felt like it, Alpine and Sul Ross State University gave me the opportunity to shine, and gave me the opportunity to be a part of something that was special. And it was that. It was special. And as I said earlier, I wouldn't change it, wouldn't trade it for the world.
I think about the people I met and the coaches I met and the times I had and the games we won, even the games we lost. We made a lifetime of friends. And today, to this day, I still see a bunch of good friends.
We weren't around for the 1965 team to see how they did and where they did it. But I think as far as games go down in Alpine, Texas, that game has got to stand out with any old timer that remembers any kind of Sul Ross football games. That was one of the top games he's ever laid his eyes on.
We became one, and in becoming one, it was greater than a game. It was greater than a football team. It was young men that learned how to care and love each other.
To look back at that, used to be the old reel film, to look at it on video now, and to listen to it on tape. And I remember listening to it on tape 25, 30 years later, and Ray Hendricks calling the game and going down to the wire on the game. And I think he was as into it as the coaches and the players and the fans were, and just a incredibly memorable afternoon.
And always, even if I don't see them, I care about them, think about them really daily, and hope they're doing well. And any chance I get to interact with them, it's always a good experience. But just a great group of guys, winners.
Like when we had that reunion, it was good to see everybody. It was just a great experience. Sul Ross has been good to all of us, and it was just something to never forget.
But overall, I think it was just that we came together as one. No one was saying the offense was better, the defense was better. It was no Sul Ross was better.
Playing the game, playing with a great group of guys, that was a huge part of that experience. But it was just going to college and going to school, and then coming out of it with a degree. And then I know myself, going into teaching and coaching. It's kind of weird because I was an individual, Larry, that I did not like school. So here I am, an individual that did not like school, and I've never left school.
And all the hard work, determination that everybody put in to get to what we did, it didn't come easy. And I'm just so proud to have been part of this team and be part of this team. And I just can't say enough. It's like a dream that came true, and we weren't even dreaming about it.
But when I reflect on it, if I had to play my last down in any ball game, that was the game I wanted to finish on. I really felt like we left it on the field in that game.
Certainly a lost feeling when we lost, and a devastating feeling knowing that it was the final time you would do it.
A heartbreaker when you were successful 10 games, and then to have that one go to triple overtime and you can do it, and it didn't happen. So it was a tough one.
Bob Richardson, president of Sul Ross, was not a great football or a great athletic fan at all. And he really didn't want to host that playoff game. But when he left Sul Ross, his last day in office, he called me and asked if I could go over to his office. I went over there, and he said, Sample, I want to tell you something. He said, I was watching college all-star game the other night. He said, this player from William Jewell was in the game. And he said, I brought back a lot of memories. And he said, I want to tell you, in my presidency here, there's been 3 great things that happened. And he said, one of them was that damn football game that you got out here. He said, that's one of the best things that ever happened to Sul Ross. And I wasn't for it, but he said it was a great success for us and brought in all kinds of publicity that little old Sul Ross would have never gotten.
What really didn't sink in at the time, that sinks in now after, you've had years, to reflect on this, are the relationships that were built, the bonds that were made, the lifeline friends that resulted from that experience, the small town environment that was Alpine, but it was a very inclusive community in our student body, very, very diversified. And there was an atmosphere. Yeah, we are different in certain ways. Our backgrounds completely different from different parts of the state, or in my case, different parts of the country, different cultures. But there was an atmosphere of acceptance and mutual respect that that bonded lifetime friendships and developed us professionally.
But real regrets, every player has regrets about plays they didn't make. But I don't know that I would change a thing. I got to be teammates with Tommy Holmes. I got to be, a teammate of Marcel Clay. I got to play with Rene Cortinas. I got Joel Bellinger. I go on Maury Stevens. I can go on and on. I got to room with Ray Despain. I got to play for Joe George. Nobody really deserves that, but I got it, and I'll take that with me to the grave.
They were brothers. They were there for one another, and there's not anything that a coach could ask for as far as attitude, intelligence, and want to, because we did it, and we all did our part to the best of our abilities.
But oh, what a successful year for Sul Ross football. First conference championship and undefeated season since 1965. And of course, what a way to wrap the thing up. Again, William Jewell wins it 44-43. They stopped Maurice Stevens about a foot shy of the goal line on the east end zone of Jackson Field. It's been a great season for both football teams. And what an exciting afternoon this has been. Again, it took 3 overtimes. The Lobos gambled and went for 2. And they did not quite get in on the 2-point conversion. And William Jewell wins it 44-43 in the 3rd overtime. Well, that'll do it from Jackson Field. We'd like to thank our listeners in Fort Stockton and Pecos and throughout Alpine and the Big Bend area. And we'd like to thank you for your support throughout the year. We return you now to the studio.